Okay, thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
I didn't want to just turn it on randomly. So.
Oh, thanks for that, Claire. Hello, everybody. I'm just going to say it again for the purpose of our members. We are talking today about, how we can inform our clients, try to get those clients here, really. And we are just doing an open discussion, and we have loads of people from different backgrounds, and we do different things, and we are going to try to brainstorm together and see how we go. So we were just talking about myths that we think we have in our own therapies. And I was just saying that I'm a massage therapist and reflexologist, and for example, myths, massage is just something that you do as a treat. Is very, very joining with beauty. Usually women have it, or very muscular men that they're just gonna have a deep
like
tissue.
a sports massage.
Exactly, like a sports massage. So I think people don't know that there is a variety and different types and modalities of massages. They don't even know that it's very beneficial. And is how can we, me personally, how can I reach out to those people and try to make them my clients by explaining them without being also mixed with the sex industry as well. We get a lot of that, unfortunately, sometimes.
I think the problem is a lot of people view what we do as a nice to have and not a necessity, where actually a lot of what we do can be classed as preventative.
Yes.
So you look at the benefits of massage, reflexology, kinesiology, counselling, all of those. And actually, a lot of things, if people take responsibility for themselves, we are actually able to help them progress and move forwards and make better choices.
Yes. And also maybe not wait until you are nearly kind of falling apart, isn't it?
Your foot's dropping off and then you come for reflexology.
Yes, and then you come and say, well, and then you kind of tell them, well, we are going to see how this goes. I think people as well, they're used to the magic pill that in this society we have. Go to the doctor, I'll give you paracetamol, ibuprofen, painkiller is going to sort all your problems, which is actually not sorting any problems, it's just masking everything. So I think because people come from that background, it's quite difficult to, you have to basically teach them, getting them to know a little bit of what it does. Also there is a lot of, you have to put from your side as well. So you have to get collaboration with the clients, and it's all about creating that communication with them and see how open they are.
I'm interested in hearing some of the other misconceptions from the other types of therapy as well. Because one of the things that I'm looking at the moment is I'm about to start doing something called Therapy Mythbusters, where members of the Therapist Network will have a free interview with me that you can use to dispel the myths around the therapy, or some of the things that people stops people from booking because they may have been misinformed about what it really means, or I get really upset when I hear things in the media that twist what some therapy is about, especially if they're more holistic or complementary ones. So so I'm really interested in seeing what some of the things are that you may have found out about your own therapies, and what people
with
think
kinesiology, the main thing is people don't know what it is. So that's the main thing I run into, is that they're not necessarily looking for a kinesiologist. They've never heard of it before. They usually come to see somebody that their friend said can help, and they're waiting to see what it's like when they get there. So that's what I tend to get. And also every kinesiologist is so different, so it's not like you can go to one kinesiologist and go to another kinesiologist. It might be a completely different experience. So I don't know if I don't run into many myths. I just run into a complete, I don't know what I'm expecting to happen, but I'm hoping you can help me. That's what I tend to get. And then I guess because of that, there's probably a lot of people who don't come because they wouldn't come to something they can't, they don't know yet. As usually when people are desperate, they're like, just do what you can. But if people are not quite at that place, then it probably puts them off, because they don't really know what it is, other than that their friend says it's good.
I think the thing is, people need to know what it is, that what they will benefit from.
Yeah.
What's it going to do for them? What are they going to get out of it?
Yeah. Well, that's why
reading. I mean, people are like, what? Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I decided to rebrand myself as the food intolerance clinic. But when I do that, then I'm not advertising so much more that I can do. But then I decided to go with that because most of my clients are word of mouth, and it's all word of mouth. So if I'm advertising something that people do understand and then get more word of mouth, because I'm that's how I decided to go around it. But yeah, just advertising myself as a kinesiologist, it is tricky because we all do it so differently. So someone can come and see me and be like, well, I prefer the way my other kinesiologist, not usually, but they could be like that because we have other modalities that we mix in with it, and so it's not standardized like it is at a doctor. And yeah, the other thing is that I get a lot of people, this is probably not really answering the question, but this is what I run into. People come to see me as a natural GP. So like you said, they're expecting me, instead of getting a drug, they're just expecting a herb instead, but it's the same thing. They expect that I diagnose, tell them what's going to help them, and they go home and everything's fixed in 2-3 days. And so that's another thing I run into, but that just takes time. And of course, some people aren't even ready for that, so maybe you lose a few, but generally, if they want to get better, as long as they feel better after the first appointment, then they'll come back, won't they? So, but yeah, but then that's how I got into kinesiology as a client. I also, so I can't really knock it, because that is how a lot of people, become open to all of this, is by thinking, oh, it's just a natural GP. But,
so having said that, Amelia, so what do you think are the blocks or fears of your clients not coming to see you?
I think even when they come to see, because kinesiology, you feel, well, yeah, it's the same with they don't know how it works. And so a lot of the people that I see are people who they don't mind that they don't know how it works. But yeah, I guess even after you've experienced it, it's a bit like, how did that happen?
It's witchcraft.
It feels like it, yeah. But then obviously, one of the things that is really not known is just how electrical everybody is. If you completely understand how electrical we are, it's pure science. It's more scientific than anything else, but because it's not normal in society to understand that, then it seems like witchcraft. But yeah, and then you start saying bioelectrical, and some people get it and some people won't. But yeah, it's just, when you understand we're electrical, it's easy. But when we live in a society where people are so thoroughly disabused of that idea and weirdly taught that doesn't make sense. But yeah, that's the thing. But I think people are getting more and more open to that. But that's a long process. So really it comes down to, can you help me or not, isn't it? People want to know, so that was my idea, to go with the food intolerance, and then just carry on with word of mouth, because that's how it usually is anyway.
Yes. Yeah. CT, was you going to say something as well? You had your hand up earlier.
No, it's just about, in reference to what Yolanda was saying earlier, that the connotations of being a massage therapist. So when I don't know if you're all familiar with Jing, but there was a time where people were really struggling with, what do you call yourselves? Do you call yourself, no longer call yourself a masseuse, don't call yourself a massage therapist, a body worker, or what, but everything has a kind of a funny connotation to it. So it's a matter of yeah, what do you call yourself, without making it sound provocative, and sexualizing it. So yeah, so I guess if you're working in an environment in a clinic setting, then it's all right. They'll understand what you do. But if you're working not in a clinic setting, like working with I don't know, in areas where people might think it's something else, and that's a problem. But I think out of all the massage therapists, I'm sure we all get some sort of little bit of I don't know what you call it. What do you call it?
Risque.
Sometimes.
Risque. Yeah. So you always have to explain yourself over and over again. What do you actually do, and what does it mean? And the same as Amelia said, and Nikki and Yolanda, about yeah, you have to explain everything that you do, and that it can help you, and maybe people don't come for you just, they think it's a relaxing situation to be in, but they don't understand that you can treat pain, and that it doesn't go away immediately. You need more than one treatment, and it's trying to get those people back.
So it's basically as well, I mean, it's what we've just talked so far is about client expectations, isn't it? So it's basically when person comes to you, they expect something, but so we have to inform them what we do, obviously in advance. So yeah, obviously face to face is, when we get referrals from people, that is really good, because people already say, oh, Yolanda does this or does that, and they already know what you do. But when we're getting new clients, which we don't know, we don't even know how they look like, what age group, we don't know what they do. How can we, we need to put ourselves out there. So we need to, maybe by social media, or maybe, I don't know what I use social media, me personally. We need to inform them, maybe post things of what we do. Maybe we need to be a little bit more technical in what we say. I mean, I provide remedial at the same time than relaxing. So, you explain about, I don't know, what you do. I mean, if you have pain, try to maybe write articles, or maybe a little bit shorter. Do you guys, have you done the article thing, or do you find that helpful? Do you think it's too long, people read it? Or maybe is it better to just do something shorter?
I've done an article that was published to do with EFT and reflexology, because at that time I was experimenting with the two working together, and I am due to do an article. Sorry, Claire, I totally forgot. I'll do that. But yeah, I think a lot of the time people aren't totally sure of what it is, and because of that, they start to wonder, and also society has got certain expectations. As City was saying, I mean, Jing Massage were doing hot stones. I did my hot stones and pregnancy massage with them, and they were body workers at that time. So I'm assuming they've now changed what they're calling themselves. But then why should we have to explain what we do when it's society that's decided? I mean, look at the COVID regulations, when the government decided they were going to put massage therapists down with beauty therapists and called masseuse.
Yeah, oh, that was appalling. That was appalling.
We were in the same one in the first lockdown. I mean, I think they managed to do something for this for the second lockdown. The first lockdown, we were the same as you, in the same category with you.
Yeah. That was appalling, and they were calling us. How were they calling? They were not even calling us massage therapists.
No, they were calling us masseuses.
Yeah, massage
parlors.
Oh my goodness, that was, and they actually put it a few times, not on the first lockdown.
And they sniggered when they mentioned it. They mentioned the restrictions in Parliament. They actually sniggered.
Oh yes, I actually watched it. I watched it, and I thought, I thought that was, I mean, that shows, unfortunately, in our, you know, what we do, unfortunately, people have that misconception, isn't it? But I mean, moving from that, we are saying, what can we do? So we can maybe inform clients. Does anybody want to talk more about their myths and how they feel about that? Are there any other people that would like to share what are the myths from their therapies?
I've still got to do my website, and I've still got to finish off my Facebook page. And with me, although I might not seem on here, but I'm quite shy. And I don't mind talking about what I do, but it's like writing everything down and highlighting it. And it's you, it's because you're so passionate and it's so personal what you do for other people. You're too afraid of what people might take it or might misconstrue what you say or misunderstand what you say. And if you don't really want to say you're good or you're great or fantastic, you don't really want to say that, but you want to use different words to make it sound like, you know, come to me if you're in pain, you know, without begging.
Yeah.
So how do you?
I don't think it's big-headed though to say I am good at what I do. It's I think because I've been in the industry as long as I have been, I can now confidently sit and say, actually, I am good at what I do. And people will come to me because they like me as a person, they like the way that I work, and they feel that I'm good. So I think it's also worth, isn't it? It's value.
Yeah. And also, I think men are better at demanding things than we are.
Is that right, Chris?
I have a client and I have a client who went to see one, and the thing is, he tells you what to do and he expects you to do it. Like, in a way, I think I'd be a bit more, I don't know, I wouldn't be, but I think men are better at just saying, I'm great and this is what it costs and do this.
Chris, what's your views on that?
He's laughing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I don't know whether we are really. I kind of think, I suppose I'm not very good at advertising what I do. So I don't put myself out there very much. I don't have a website. I have a presence on a psychology app, but I don't do very much more publicity than that. I'm quite happy to talk. I've done quite a lot of presentations over the years and presented doing what I do, but I don't know really. I think it's a really interesting conversation to have about men, I think, because men are experiencing a lot of change at the moment, really, I think. So, but maybe that there are some, the guys I work with, you know, I'm not sure they fit into that criteria, but yeah, it's interesting what you say, really. But
So Chris, you've been doing your counselling for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you have a steady practice? Are you happy with the amount of clients you get at the moment?
I suppose I'm kind of sort of semi-retired, I suppose, Claire. So I have a practice of about 16 clients I've got on my books at the moment, which is okay for me. Hopefully, come September, I'll be back working in the school that I was working in, which means I'll drop that down. But the piece of exciting work I'm doing at the moment is with Dads Unlimited. And it's for dads who can't always see their children. They've experienced a lot of issues around court, domestic violence that they've received, and that's quite exciting. That's really interesting work. And a lot of the guys I work with, you know, they've experienced a lot. So I do quite a lot of work around life scripts and things with them. So yeah, but I have a steady stream. I do take new clients on. I still work with couples quite a lot, and I do some work with young people. So yeah.
How do you support anybody getting over? Because obviously with counselling nowadays, it's a lot more talked about in general anyway. And I should imagine there's a lot less misconceptions around talking therapies than there are any hands-on therapies.
Yeah, I think
what's been your experience?
Well, I think when clients come and see me, I often look at counselling quite simplistically. And I say to them, it's really an opportunity for you to talk through what's happening for you, really. So I try and kind of engage with people that way. I think sometimes people might think there's a lot of mumbo jumbo around counselling. And with some people, with young people especially, I don't call it counselling, I call it support. Because I think counselling with young people they sometimes struggle with those words. So I sometimes just use support instead of counselling.
What do you think the struggle is?
Sorry?
What do you think the struggle is?
What struggle with?
Calling it counselling.
I think for young people, I think if you say to someone who's a young person, you're coming for counselling, they might receive it that you're implying that there's something wrong with them. So why would I go and do something like that? But I think if you say to them, I'm going to offer you some support, I think it's a softer way of introducing that to people, to a young person. I think when I was young, I mean, quite a lot happened to me when I was very young. And I think if someone said, you're going to go and see a counsellor, I'd have said, oh, you know, no way, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm not going to do that. But if someone has said to me, you can go along and talk to someone for half an hour to give you a bit of support, I might have been inclined to do that.
I work in mental health and neurodiversity, and I actually find that I use the words emotional health. Yeah. Because it's friendlier. So I get what you're saying about the counselling, and it's your language, isn't it, and how you use your language. Yeah.
And I think with younger people, it's very much, particularly when they're going through CAMS and stuff like that, they very much see it as a process that is done unto them, in that adults have concerns about the mental well-being of a young person and put stuff in place. And they actually don't feel very often that they are co-creating.
They have no control.
Yeah. So I work in my other job, I work with students primarily 16 plus. So we have to do a lot of work unpicking what going to counselling as an adult or a nearly adult will mean now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carol.
Well, there is a lot of stigma and a lot of things when you say you're a hypnotherapist, because people just think you're going to do things to them and they've got no control. So and the thing is, I'm quite specific in what I'm doing. So I kind of basing my therapy around my work. So I'm kind of offering like skin to skin bonding sessions with your baby as a relaxation session and a hypnotherapy session. And like, because I work in a neonatal unit, it's kind of boosting up your milk supply, the mind-body connection. And because I work in the right environment, I can get people on board quite nicely. But setting up a business and then taking on like clients with depression, anxiety, phobias, it's getting people to believe in what you're doing, because they don't believe it's going to work, or they believe you're going to do something to them that's going to affect their mental health. And it's quite difficult getting that message across. Or they come along and think that it's like a magic pill, like, oh, I have a first session and you're going to absolutely cure me and I'll be fine. So it's just getting the message across. And I'm finding that hard with the new business as well, which I've only just set up, is how do I get that message across, in the fact that I won't control you, I won't make you do anything that you wouldn't normally do. And hypnotherapy can be very effective. So it's just getting things across to people in a way that they understand, and getting that and getting their trust.
I think your field has been badly affected by the stage hypnotists, hasn't it?
God, yeah.
And
well,
actually,
this is one that the media
clinical
affected a lot,
hypnotherapist
isn't
is
it?
different.
Yeah, it's totally different.
It's not hypnosis.
No, it's not. It's hypnotherapy.
Yeah,
which is completely different. But yeah, getting people to believe that you're not going to make them. Yeah, and it is a lot to do with the television programs have got across that you can make people do things that they wouldn't normally do. And I think people sometimes are frightened.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. People are frightened. Some people don't want to take responsibility. I've had clients come to me and then they start to feel better and they stop coming. because they're scared of what will happen once they feel better.
I was just thinking, Carol, when you're doing, I guess clients who come and see you are quite vulnerable when they come and see you, are they?
Yeah, it depends what client, because I offer a range of like treatment, so it depends what clients I've got coming to me, and it's word of mouth. It's totally word of mouth at the moment, because I work in quite an area where it's NHS. A lot of NHS staff have anxiety, they're stressed, and I offer discount for NHS staff as well. So I'm getting quite a lot of people that I know, and then it's word of mouth from there, as well as doing things that, because I've been a neonatal nurse for over 30 years, so I have a lot of experience in that field as well, which is the field that I'd like to carry it through onto. So it's getting that clientele, but I'm not allowed to promote my business at work either. So it's getting the clients through the door and getting across what I actually do.
And yet there's a lot of crossover between reflexology and midwives.
There is, and there's a lot of midwives that don't agree that hypnotherapy works in that environment.
What about hypnobirthing?
Yeah, I've heard about that actually. Some people, some person today, my massage therapist, I went for a massage today, and she said she's gonna do hypnobirthing, and I thought, oh, that's really nice. I wish I knew about that.
I am a midwife as well, so I can see it from both points. I can see that the clients want that service, but at the same time, it's putting that into practice on a very, very busy labour ward when things don't always go their way. So it's a very difficult one to do, the hypnobirthing and the hypnopregnancy. I think the hypnopregnancy probably is okay, but the hypnobirthing, if things are going well and the labour ward isn't busy, fine, that works. But if you have a very, very busy labour ward and you're looking after like 2 or 3 patients at the same time, you can't actually do that. It's impossible. So it's expectations as well.
That's what I was going to say, Carol. It sounds to me like you've got a unique opportunity to use your ability to step between both worlds, as it were, to manage expectations, because hypnobirthing is a very trendy thing at the moment. There's a lot of therapists training in it. I know nothing about it, so I won't profess to know about it. But like you said, I would never, remembering when I was pregnant, if that was something that was available to me then, I would never have considered that might be something that can't happen because of how busy the labour ward might be. So you've got like a unique opportunity there where you'd be able to answer questions that people don't even know they have yet.
Yeah.
I have my daughter at home because I've got a terrible fear of needles. So I was very fortunate that it was myself, the midwife, and my husband cowering upstairs in the bedroom with the cats. So I suppose if you're able to do something like home birth, then maybe it's something you could be brought forward. But I don't think even home births are as actively promoted or encouraged.
No. It's having the staff to do it in the first place. That is the problem with the NHS. You don't have the staff in the first place to put things into place that are different.
One of the things that my coaching clients quite often is, I've just been jotting down some of the things that happen that gets discussed in coaching sessions that I do quite often. And it seems to be like this is a universal problem, which is just how do we get across to other people what we do in a way that's compelling enough for them to want to come and try it or to do it. And one of the things that seems to kind of shift as we go through the course of discussing these things is that, and it's not the same for everybody, but these are common things that come up for me again and again with my clients, is that they begin with this kind of, this is how I should present myself, because this is either what business people have told me I should do, how I should have my website written or anything like that. And I'm going to stop a minute because Jenny wants to say something.
It was going to be a point to make after you'd finished.
Okay.
Not as I'm not a hands-on therapist sort of thing, but somebody who enjoys a lot of hands-on therapies, one of the things that's really important to me is diversity on websites and advertising, because I would say 90% of the representation of people being recipients of therapy are young, lithe and white. So if you haven't got body diversity within your media, you're only going to be reaching out to that very small audience sort of thing. And I generally find it's older women who are accessing therapies because they've got either the time or the money and the resources to do it. And yet the vast majority of websites don't have that body diversity in place.
That's a good point.
Diversity.
Yeah. That is something that I've, because I've done, obviously my background is in tech, for those that know. I've built websites and done SEO for a very long time now. But yeah, in the coaching, one of the things that comes across, and when I do look at people's websites for the first time, is when I look at somebody's website or how they put themselves across on social media, I don't just look at my client, I then look at their competition. So say, for instance, we had you, Nikki, as a reflexologist. I would look at other reflexologists on the internet, not necessarily in your geographical area. And what I tend to find is all the websites look the same. So the only thing the client is then left to shop on is price. And that fuels the myth that people aren't coming to me because I'm too expensive. And that's not necessarily the case.
When I had a website, I never put prices in.
Yeah, so does that fuel a myth that you're too expensive because you haven't put a price in? I can't afford it because she's not saying how much she is.
I don't put my price as well.
Yeah.
I don't. I think if somebody's interested in what I, and I think all these basically, I mean, I don't have a website, I just have the Facebook page. But I think it's about having a conversation with your possible client. I mean, as a massage therapist and reflexologist, we are all different. I mean, I did the reflexology last year, and there were only a few of us, we did it. And we are so different because we are different people. So just the fact of what you provide is completely different. You are giving more than what you learn when you went and did the course, the experience you've had, who you are. So obviously your service is going to be unique. So how can we put that forward? And it's about, I think it's about having a conversation, how can we put it obviously on a web page or on social media? It's just talking a little bit about you, just being you, being you, not being afraid of who you are. I've got an accent, but
that was top on my list of notes, was be human and be yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. I just did one. I've only done a little kind of, Facebook thingy on my, talking. And I see myself like, oh my goodness, so funny. But I was just being spontaneous and going for a walk. This was in the first lockdown. It's the only one I've done, but I thought, I just wanted to do it, and I did it just to break the fear. And it's just being yourself, I suppose. And you just say what you do. And then I got some clients, sometimes they like me, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I like them. I mean, the ones that come back is because we like each other. So what I provide is something unique, and they like it, and they come back for more. Or maybe they move and they move into another situation in their lives, another phase, and they don't come back. But I think it's all about the power of attraction. So we are all unique, even we've gone to the same college, school, university, I've learned exactly the same. We are completely unique. And I think we have to somehow, I'm still in the process of learning that, obviously, just put that across, who you are, as a person, as a professional. I believe all of us are here because we have a passion or passions. It's just showing that passion and somehow, just showing who you are. I don't know how, but we'll get there.
Suppose that's where Claire's videos will come in.
Yes,
but
because I get told that when I talk about feet, I light up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been watching people, when I talk to people in the rooms and they talk about what they do and why they do it, it's a completely different energy to when I read what they've written on their website. And so when I've gotten to know somebody for a little while and what they do, that's when we start working on, okay, how are you going to change that language? Because I'm exactly the same with my own business. When I put pen to paper, my head goes blank. You know, and it's something that's well known in the marketing world. It's called the curse of knowledge. So it's the hardest business to talk about is your own. And that's why it's always good to, you know, get a buddy or something like that, someone where you can bounce ideas off and get them to explain your business. And you use that information, because it's really difficult to talk about your own business unless you're actually having a real conversation like we are now.
Or having an interview with somebody that's doing business.
Yeah, so like the thing that I want to do is I got the idea from Russell Brand, believe it or not. I've been watching his podcasts where he's interviewing for a podcast, and I just thought that's when I really get to know that person. Like, he did one with Rupert Sheldrake. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the scientist Rupert Sheldrake, but he did one with him anyway. And I'd read one of his books, but I didn't really understand what he was about. He's quite a complex man. It's about proving the collective unconscious. If anyone's interested, to go check it out. It's fascinating. But because he's quite scientific, I found it really difficult to understand where he was coming from. But when I watched that interview, you're seeing the real person there, and you see their body language, and they light up, and you're like, oh yeah, now I get it. And I was like, God, if we can do that, if we can get that, especially as everyone's quite shy, it's really difficult to talk to a camera, isn't it? I can't record myself live for Facebook Live. I don't know what to say. But if somebody's saying to me, tell me about your business, well, yeah, I can talk till the cows come home about that. So, you know, that's, and one of the things that always comes back to as well for me, and the people that I work with, is knowing who you're talking to. So as much as it's a pain in the arse, you've got to know your ideal client, or clients, plural. But for me, it's not just about, all of the exercises I've ever done in the past have been very demographic. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll make up this imaginary person, we'll call them Jill, let's say, and she'll be 55 years old and she'll live in a semi-detached house and blah, blah. And I can't, and I'm trying to write stuff to attract this person to my business. And it's all make-believe, and it doesn't, you know, excuse my French, but it feels bullshit, and it feels a bit snake oil salesman, and I didn't like it. But then I did one where it's about, you're not talking about who they are, but you're talking about what drives them. So when people make a purchase of anything, yourselves included, myself included, it's never really about the money. It's always emotional. That's how come some people can afford shoes that are 300 quid when, you know, they don't earn 300 quid. You know, so whenever we make a purchase, it's an emotional thing. And another thing that I think a lot of people struggle with is that if you're going to get to somebody's emotions and what drives them to make a purchase on you and what you're offering, that feels somehow unethical and wrong. But that's only unethical and wrong if your intent is to just nick their money, just take their money and run, which I know for all of you here in the room, that's absolutely not the case. And so one of the things that I've been trying to work on myself with my own business is to not be afraid of trying to make that emotional connection and speak the language that my potential clients would speak, because my intent is to help them and do them good. And there's nothing snake oil about that. So, you know, that's one of the things that I'm working on at the moment that's been helping me to get more clients. Sorry, I've gabbled on.
Yes, no, but I think you are right, Claire. It's all about thinking we are here to help them. And then why do we shy when we are so good? I think I'm really good at my job, because when I can feel it when I'm just kind of, you know, you can see the change when they come and when they leave. They're like, oh my goodness, oh, nearly singing. So I think I must be really good.
About, isn't it though? Yeah. That's the bit you say. This is what happens to real people. Yeah. Come try it yourself.
Exactly. So I'm thinking, well, I must be really good, because, you know, I actually am thinking, well, I have to find somebody like me. It's very difficult to find somebody like me, because what you've learned by practicing on other people and you get the effects, then today I had a massage, it was really nice, but you're like, oh, maybe they should have, we tend to like have a look at what they do and compare it with ourselves. But then what I'm trying to do now, I go with an open canvas. I say, okay, I'm just going to put my body and my soul into this person's hands and let's see what they do, instead of trying to compare with all things that we've done. And then it actually works better that way, because if you try to compare with experiences you've had in the past, you're just, I don't know, somehow you are not appreciating that person. So now I'm trying to see that, you know, let's see what the offering is. I'm just gonna receive and see how I feel. So in the case of my customers, I'm bloody good because they keep coming back. So I think we all have to, yeah, I mean, and every massage therapist, we are so unique and different, and that's why we are not competitors against each other, because the clients like you because who you are and what you are giving. Yeah. It's not that, you know, it's not the name that Yolanda does blah blah blah. It's what you, as you City were saying before, we mix everything. We mix our emotions, we mix all the things we learn, and we are a cocktail Molotov, basically.
That's so refreshing to hear, Yolanda, because that's exactly the point, isn't it? This is the thing where if you're a sole trader, the advice that you'll be given is get yourself out there, post on Facebook 3 times a day, blah, 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 and all this crap. And it makes me really cringe, because that's good for a big company that's got a sales team and somebody whose job it is to do social media and nothing else. But you don't have that luxury. All you want to do is get on and do the therapy that you trained for and not have to do all that other crap. And so the thing that makes you unique is the fact that you are your business. That is it, and that's why there isn't really a competition, because you've just got to bring yourself to the table and be brave.
You're both right, because I was thinking the other day, a few days ago, that if I was doing this for free and I didn't have to charge her, I'll probably it'd be easier for me to to tell people what I do and do them more quickly and easier. And because you have to charge, you have to make a living. That's the problem I have, is making a living out of something I like doing, and charging for. I know charging and getting the money at the end is a bonus, but what I really want to do is help people, you know. And if it comes without money, then you feel sort of lighter and freer, and you know. But because it's come with, you know, you've got to earn a living and pay your bills and stuff. That's the hard bit.
Aren't we lucky to be able to work in a field that we're passionate about, that doesn't feel like going to work? But there needs to be an exchange of energy. So actually, and there needs to be a value. So that's what we're doing by asking for X amount at the end. That's our value.
Yes.
But it's also, we can't exist without it. And my tutor, because I was funny about prices, and she said, look, it's a duty to earn money. You have a duty.
Yes.
If you don't earn money, you won't be available for your clients. It's just, of course, there's the thing that sometimes putting your prices up, there's lots of people where they've given an example, they put their prices up and they got more clients.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you must be worth it if you're charging more.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, I know someone who deliberately put up her prices because she wanted to get less work, because she wanted to focus on a different part of the business. And then she got flooded.
Wow, that's really good.
Absolutely overwhelmed. And she was literally like, yeah, prices I would never imagine charging. She actually just increased her work like twice over.
The thing, you know, like when we're looking at what blocks our clients from booking, what's blocking us from letting them book?
Yes. One of the things is don't assume people can't afford what your prices are. Because we think, when I started, I thought, I'm going to put price, you know, I'm going to do a discount for the, you know, people over 60s or whatever. No, usually the markets of people over 60s or 70s, they're the ones that have all the savings. So don't assume. I think for me, when I started, I was charging less because I thought, okay, I'm going to start in blah, blah, blah. It was for me, I'm kind of learning still. Then I thought, okay, after a year, I raised the prices because I thought, okay, for me, it was my gut feeling of telling me, you know what, I think, you know, am I feeling okay with what I'm getting back? I'm giving so much. And I actually put the prices up again with the COVID thingy because it was just so much. I spent so much money. The cleaning is amazing. You have to clean and clean and clean and wash everything. And I have less clients. I just said, you know what, I have to put my prices up. I thought if I lose clients, I didn't lose a single client. I had more clients. So people were really understanding. Even at the beginning, I was feeling a bit apologetic, but I thought, you know what? No, this is how it is. I can't work any other way. So if people want to carry on with me, they'll have to carry on this way because I'm sorry, I cannot do it for less. So it's about, you have to do exchange, as Nikki was saying, it has to be exchange. And you're giving so much, you're giving all your energy, as you all know. I mean, it's not only flesh and body, and it's energy. You're giving so much that in order for be fair, you receive it with love as well, you know. So so it's just seeing it like that. I mean, I like thinking it like that, so it feels nice instead of feel dirty money. Oh my goodness, the money, all the connotations of the, you know. And I see it like, you know, I offer my love and I receive love in, you know, with money that I'm gonna use for having fun and doing all the things I like and things like chocolate. That. Exactly. Yes, if you process it the way you feel is going to go into your beliefs, personal beliefs, because we all have different personal beliefs, and maybe see it as love. They are, you know, giving you that so you can be happy with your family and, you know, do the things you like, and just process it in a way that you don't feel it's bad because you're doing so much good. If you think it about that, all these people, when they leave your place, a city, I'm sure they all like singing and dancing because they couldn't move
I was told once you should charge £1 a minute.
Oh, wow. Yes.
I was told once I don't actually charge £1 a minute.
Yes, yes. Well, that's a compliment. Or when sometimes they give you a tip, it's telling you something that you are charging less.
In fact, I'm charging less than that, but I go over the time. I always go over the time.
Yes, I think with as manual therapists, we do go over the time, but I think it's, I mean, what your beliefs are as well. But
I can see a coaching session, Claire, coming in on boundaries.
Oh my God, yeah.
Can you? I'm working with a client on boundaries at the moment, funnily enough.
Yes.
This is where my teacher head comes on and I go, you've got to do your homework now.
Yeah. Maybe that's one we need to do, Claire. You and I, we'll work together on that one.
Yes, the boundaries are really important, but boundaries with the clients, boundaries with ourselves as well, and say, you know, this is it. I tend to go over as well myself, but you know, I don't have any problem with that. But I also tend to talk a lot before. I can't just go boo boo. I need to know how the people are feeling. It's all about, for me, I mean, that's why I work from home actually, because I wouldn't be able to do like pizzas, massage like pizzas, like when you go to another place that you have to pay for the room and things like that. I suppose you just
say about service.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's the service I want to provide. So for me, it's a little bit about knowing where the person is at that moment when they came to see me last time. How did it feel? What did it shift? Are you doing, you know, a little bit of homework that I sometimes give them, of exercises, or give them tips about maybe, you know, how you are working. Lots of people working from home, so lots of aches and pains everywhere. So it's how to manage their lives. And I actually have to say, the people that follow some of the tips, you see the benefits like, wow, no end. And the people that they are so busy that they just come back for again a quick fix, and then we start from zero next time. They usually not regulars as well. They take them longer to come back. So yeah, that's how it works. Sorry, I'm kind of diverting, I think.
May I just ask if anybody's doing any consultations via Zoom and then doing aftercare in the weeks after that via Zoom, or you're not doing anything on Zoom? You're just going.
I'm not doing anything on. I know.
I follow up with my clients by a text. A few days later, I'll text and say, "How are you feeling? Anything you feel that you need to discuss with me?" But I've never done it over. I've done discovery calls over Zoom, but I've not done follow-ups.
No, but have you done first consultations with people over Zoom before doing just hands-on on the client?
I'm not able to be hands-on anymore, so actually I've never. Last time I was actually practicing reflexology, I was able to be hands-on, so I was in person. But I still always followed up with a text a few days later.
See, for me, part of the way I get new clients is by doing a session that's it's like a discovery call, but it's extended. So I basically do 90 minutes with no charge. Because for a majority of people that I see, and again, it answers for me a lot of the questions that people have why they don't book, is I don't really understand what coaching is. I don't see the point or what I'm going to get out of it. Isn't it just for people in suits? You know, so I get a lot of misconceptions around that. But also every coach and coaching style is different as well. So, you know, for me, it's as much about having that session where there isn't that pressure of money. Is really important to me, because it gives me the opportunity to see if I can really help this person for a start, and whether we click. Because if there's someone, if I have someone where I just don't think that we're going to quite work well together, that's the opportunity to say, and that works for my style of business that I do. Obviously it may not work for your kind of business. I can't imagine you offering a free massage necessarily would work, but yeah, for me, that really works, because we get the opportunity to get to know each other and know if we're right for each other before we go ahead. So for me, that's been really important.
Yeah, my discovery calls tend to be a little bit longer, but also I can then explain the foot reading aspect of it. So that then if I'm not actually going to be seeing them in person, I am going to be coaching over Zoom, they know how they can get that to me.
But so but everything else, it's just been about having conversations about what it does as opposed to what you do. What does it do? How do they feel when they get home? What changed? What surprised them? You know, those are all things that tend to be missing on websites anyway.
Well, I answering to City's question before, I don't do Zoom before the hands-on. I talk to them face to face, and then I do the treatment. But also my feedback before, I used to do text the following day, how you feeling after the massage, blah blah blah. I'm not doing that anymore, so I'm waiting when I see them the following time. That's why I spend so much time, because it's like, how was that? How are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. What did you do? That's the feedback is in the following session that I see you.
Yeah.
So it's on the following session, because I can't keep up. What I do, I send a message the previous day saying, the COVID thing, isn't it? So have you just, that's the new situation. But no, I don't do, otherwise I'll be texting all day before and after. So I'm just doing it when they come on the day. I just say, how you are, how did it go? There were any changes? What did you do? Did you do the exercises? Have you changed whatever we discuss about? And then we talk. And I think that conversation is so important, so they can tell you what worked, what didn't work. Oh, let's try this, let's try that. It's so important to have a conversation with your clients.
Yolanda,
in order
do you
to understand if it works?
Information, like, so that any of that information, not obviously personal client details, but do you utilize any of that to help future clients decide if they want to book or not? Do you talk in your social media or anything like that about the things that have happened?
You mean new clients?
Well, yeah, like, so like on your social media when you're...
No, I don't actually. Maybe I should.
I think you keep freezing.
So with that, Claire, are you kind of meaning kind of a social proof?
I missed the last bit. It's probably my connection.
Yeah, Yolanda, you're breaking up. We're not hearing you well. Jenny, in answer to your question, yes. Yeah,
so, okay. Like sorry. Yes. What?
So yes, Yolanda, I don't know if you can hear me, but we can't hear you very well. So Jenny, yeah, I was thinking, like, you know, about that. If one of the problems in people booking is that they might have a misconception that we don't know about, can we use previous happy clients, or even when we've done our training, our hours in our training, their feedback, not necessarily as a testimonial, but just, you know, it could even be like, were they surprised? Did what changed for them? Is there any of that that could be useful for then fortifying the message that you're going to put out to people who might be reading it on your website or looking at it on your social media that don't understand what they get out of coming?
I did quite a successful little thing about myths, and I think it was 5 posts on social media over 5 days looking at blocks to creativity. So that's one of the things that I do, sort of thing. Yeah. And that had really good feedback, because we talked about time, we talked about not thinking that you're good enough to create, thinking about you have to monetize your creativity to be any good, and that really generated some good conversation. So what I'm doing at the moment, because I started off doing small group work, the pandemic came along and I took all of my small groups onto Zoom, and my group work is kind of my entry level kind of pay point. My group work is really cheap because I'm delivering it to, you know, 6 or 7 people. And I was incredibly nervous with Zoom and that, but from that gave me the confidence to do live every Monday morning. And again, that's only 15 minutes. I'm using a prompt, I'm using usually some sort of oracle card sort of thing. But from that gives me the theme for my entire week's worth of social media posting. And what I'm now doing from that, now that the confidence has grown and everything, is moving more into one-to-one work, which can either be via Zoom or it can be in person. But again, what I'm now charging for the one-to-one work is much more than what I'm doing for the group work. So this year has definitely been an amazing journey.
It's forced some change that's really good, hasn't it? Especially fear of technology.
Yeah.
Has anybody else had that, where they were afraid of doing things online or hadn't even considered it before and they've been surprised?
Yeah, I have to say, Claire, when all this started about, March last year, I guess, I was very not into Zoom or telephone. I was very much face-to-face. But I suppose it was a baptism of fire, really, because that's the only way I could work. I couldn't go into an office anymore. And I've kind of changed my thoughts, really. I've kind of come round to working on Zoom and the telephone. And I'm not someone who uses the phone very much, as people who know me will tell you, because I don't keep in touch. But I've kind of got used to it. So actually, I kind of like it now. And I think what Zoom gives you, well, certainly in my kind of field, is it doesn't matter where people live. And for some people, it actually works quite well because of childcare or whatever, that they can work remotely. They don't have to see you in an office. So it's actually, yeah, I'm just surprised that it's actually worked for me much better than I thought. I really didn't. I was very anti it when it came in, but I suppose it was that or nothing, really. And I think you just get used to it.
At the beginning of the first lockdown, when everybody was saying about how they were disappointed they weren't working, but it was great they were getting their garden done and reading all their books, I was so jealous because my workload tripled because I was doing tech support. So all of a sudden I was really busy.
I'm still waiting for my time off, I must admit. People still wanted their books doing and accounts filed and stuff.
Has anybody else had something that's worked in the past for them, that, you know, anyone who's got clients that over their misconceptions that, you know, might be useful to anyone else?
The client I saw today, I'm working with them at the moment on becoming a confident version of themselves. And they were saying to me that literally I've met them for 3 weeks, 3 sessions, and they were surprised at how having someone to talk to and brainstorm with could actually give them the confidence to actually start to assert themselves a little bit more. So, and I think because of my skill set and my background, I can use counselling skills. I'm not a counsellor, but I can use the skills, and I've done a number of courses using those skills. It just means that I'm able to get people to open up a little bit more. And then you're able to thank them for the honour of actually walking that path with them, because that's a real privilege.
That's lovely. I like that.
She did bring a nice cake round as well.
Does anybody think, is there anyone here that's quite early on in their practice? I know Carol is. So if either of you in any of these discussions thought, oh, well, that's all very well if you've been doing it for a while and you've got the experience, but what do I do if I haven't seen a lot of clients yet?
Well, I was quite happy to work on Zoom because some of the training's been on Zoom. So I've been really happy to work on Zoom, and I've done hypnotherapy on Zoom and it's worked really well. So I don't mind working either way. I'm quite happy with either way.
And that could be an interesting point for discussion when you're, you know, putting yourself out there, or whatever it is that you see it as being, is that they don't necessarily have to be in the same room as you. It can still work over the internet, because I think there's still a lot of fear around people going back face to face as well at the moment, isn't there? There's still quite a few people that are nervous about going out and, you know, a bit worried about the unknowns and do they need to wear a mask and all that stuff. So we've got almost that added layer of something blocking, haven't we, that we didn't have before. So it's really good, because I wouldn't have known that. Actually, I was surprised to hear that the hypnotherapy can work just as well over Zoom. I know, because 2 of my clients are psychotherapists, so I know that they had a lot of fears of, I'm not going to be able to feel the person in the room, and it's really important that I can feel that person. And actually it wasn't, that was okay, because you can still read body language and things over Zoom. So yeah, it's quite interesting that, because I would have thought, for me anyway, that I would have been distracted if I wasn't in the same room with hypnotherapy. So that's quite good to know.
Well, it's worked well for me, and it's worked well for the clients that I've done online as well, because they've had the same, they've enjoyed the experience just as much as if they'd come into the room, and they've had the same, I've got them down to the same level of trance and everything, and I've had really good feedback. So I'm happy with that. And as for the mother and baby bonding sessions I do, are ideal online, because it's easier than bringing a baby to a clinic.
Gosh, yeah, it's comfortable at home, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's very much the same with people with either disability or chronic illness. There was so much, I have a number of neurological disorders, and I used to really struggle to get out and to go to places. And one of the reasons I started running so many groups very early on in my career is because everybody had to come to me. I didn't have to worry about getting a bus in the evening and going places. So I think, you know, I think Zoom isn't going to go anywhere, and I think it's going to make it possible for us to reach clients that do have mobility and access issues.
So that's coming back
Very
to
good point,
diversity
Jenny.
again, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that very same situation that Jenny's described is actually going to work when you flip it to the therapist point of view. I've had a great time over the last 15 months because suddenly all these groups that I couldn't go to, I could. I've met all these people, I've expanded and grown so much, just in so many ways, and it's been absolutely wonderful. Now technically I could just, you know, go back out there and rent something somewhere and set up another practice room. But actually I'd rather work from home because I know how much it took out of me before. And unless I can be, you know, substantially stronger and more well than I used to be, than I was, say, 15, 18 months ago, why put my body through that when I can actually just sit on a stool at home, as I am now, and do it over the internet? So
It's pouring from that empty cup, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Yes, it absolutely is. Obviously, I need to think a little bit more about how I'm going to diversify and what I'm going to do that can be done equally well online. Because, you know, not all the bills are going to be paid by Reiki, sadly.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised though, Fiona, if you look at your skill set and your background. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you've got at your fingertips that you will be able to use.
Yes, I think so. Actually, what I personally would like, now that you've said that, is somebody who could actually tell me objectively. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need to, it's like, oh, I need to consult somebody, I suppose, in a way, just like, you know, objectively to you, what should I be using, building on, developing, based on what
Well,
you
there's a
know
few
of me.
coaches in this room that you might find helpful.
There are, aren't there? Yes. Yeah, I'm going to have to approach somebody or other, aren't I? That would be really interesting.
And Claire specialises in businesses.
Okay. Yeah.
I just coach anything, really. But then that's me. I'll talk to anybody.
Bless you.
For someone who's not good of an evening, I'm doing all right, actually.
You're doing pretty well, actually. Yeah. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
That's my light bulb moment takeaway from here. I actually have nearly 2 sides of A4 jotted down of notes and things that people have said, but this is my takeaway. It's like, you know, I need somebody to objectively do this and help me to, Wait until payday, I'll be in touch. Not I'll be in touch before that, but you know.
I don't like pushing my services in meetings like this, but if you did want to arrange that chat, I'm happy to go ahead and do that if that's what you want.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Other coaches are available.
Obviously, yes, I know. I'm not actually sitting here, you know, trying to ask people to sell their services to me. Just suddenly my head went, oh yeah, you've got so much from your past, so much. Surely, yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you so much for saying that, Nikki.
Nikki, did you ever do my business tree?
Yay.
Sorry, my darling?
Did you ever do that business tree workshop that I did?
No.
Oh, so I say, because there's the first section that I do is we create a poster of your business, and we start with the roots and the soil, and the soil is learning, and your roots are your values, and it's really useful for sole traders and self-employed people, because everything you've ever learnt from being a child to now, you bring to your business table. That's why you're worth it. It's why you're good enough. It's why you don't need the next qualification necessarily. You know, it's why you're different to all the others, and it's why you can charge what you need to earn.
It's because I'm a witch.
It's everything. It's
when
everything.
did you do that, Claire?
Because you are your business.
When did you do that, Claire?
Oh, that was year and a half ago. I might need to resurrect it.
Oh, I'd love to see that. It'd be fabulous.
But I think, you know, what you
Seems
say
very
about
interesting.
A long time.
Yeah.
what makes you unique as a client. I used to keep my spiritual stuff and my therapy stuff very, very separate, but kind of in lockdown they just kind of merged, and I thought, well, actually my client is going to come to me because they want that spiritual aspect in their therapy, so I completely abandoned keeping them separate.
I've got I was a photographer for 25 years, and apart from wedding photography specifically, although I've covered a lot of genres, I've actually found that even my photography skills have come in useful.
Wow.
For people, especially was
I work very
one of
intuitively.
my clients the other day, especially in lockdown, because people haven't been going to get a headshot done. So I was teaching them how to take a really good headshot at home with your phone. So you don't even need to go to professional photographers. I'm doing my ex-colleagues out of business, maybe, I don't know. They weren't physically able to go and do it anyway. So but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I work very intuitively, so I just know what's needed, or I know what to suggest or say.
One of the other things that I started in lockdown, it was a podcast, and my podcast isn't very often anything related to do with my business, but because I put that podcast bloody everywhere, the amount of business that I've got from it.
Oh wow.
I love the podcast. It's my absolute, labour of love.
You was just being yourself. You weren't keeping anything hidden.
I'm not trying to flog anything.
And this is the other side of me. You can't be a dual person. You can only be you, and that's what makes your business, makes you the best at your business, and you the only person that can do that. I love that. I love that did that for you.
Loki is in the building.
That's my puppy's name.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's just a great name, isn't it?
Does your Loki live up to his name?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. That's good to know.
Oh, come on, now everyone's joining in. We've got other people. Yeah. We love our Loki. He runs the house. He tells us what to do all the time.
I've got a 15-year-old that does that.
Yeah. He gets us up. We can't go to sleep until he comes in. He just, I think our lives are all for the purpose of serving Loki. When we're 5 people in this house, so he's got a whole organisation.
He's got you wrapped around his paw, hasn't he?
He does, yeah, absolutely.
When I was working at KCC up at County, they decided they were going to have a disaster preparedness plan, which they decided to call Operation LOKI. I will not say his name. And then everything went wrong. The doors wouldn't work, every computer system went down, and I was saying, this is a bad idea from the start. This is not good. And nobody listened to me. They all poo-pooed me, and we had 3 weeks of chaos.
He was definitely in the building, wasn't he?
It was indeed.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't do anything without him. It's amazing. He kind of like turns his back on you and just makes your day. How is that possible?
It's when they turn their back on you while they're purring.
Yeah.
What's all that about?
I
Something like a mixed message, eh?
Yeah, I've got the with you, but I'm so pleased you're here.
I love to hate you.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, thanks for this, guys. I found it really useful. Would you all be interested in having this interview about your about why you're passionate about your business then, and how we can dispel some? Are you going to join the Therapist Network Mythbusters?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's not going to be like the one on
Definitely.
Twitter where they explode things and stuff. We're not going to be quite that high octane, but
Well, we could
I
be,
am halfway
you know,
missing an
maybe it-
eyebrow.
cool. I'll send an email out about it then when I get back from my holiday, because I'm on holiday from Friday for a week.
Have an
Lovely.
amazing time, my lovely.
Where are you off to, Claire?
We're going to we're going on holiday in Cornwall, where we should have gone 18 months ago.
Oh, I love Cornwall.
So we're finally getting our holiday now that we didn't have for a year and a half.
Oh,
But the
so
weather's
nice.
for it as well, so that's good, isn't it?
I've not
already
got holiday
sunburned.
envy.
Well, enjoy your holiday, Claire. I'm going to have to go soon because I've got a client. So nice to see you all.
Thanks
And
for coming,
Good to
Chris.
see you, Chris.
I'll catch up with you another time.
Nice.
Yeah, we're over.
Okay, bye.
See you.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bless him.
Oh, that was good fun. I'm really glad I
Yes,
could.
I found the meeting really helpful. Yes, myself as well. It's really good to hear other people and see. And I think Claire was, I don't know if my internet is better now. I'm going to try to talk a little bit before it gets worse. But I think it was really good when you talk to other people and you get the feedback, or how can we get help from each other to, maybe if we don't know how to define ourselves, it's just talking about ourselves to other people.
Yeah.
And I think that just makes you feel more comfortable what you do, and and that's what the network therapist is here for, really, because we're all doing the same with different things, but we are all doing what we like. And I find that's why I love this group, because it's really helpful. I mean, it's not that people only that they do what I do. I'm not going to find anybody like me. We are all so unique, but we can learn so much from each other. So thank you very much. Today's been really amazing. I love that.
It really has.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, have a lovely holiday, Claire, and have a lovely rest of the week, everybody. I don't know if anybody wants to say something more, but yeah, thank you for coming.
The only thing, if I could just quickly dive in, I'm still looking at getting my hours up for my coaching diploma. And so if anyone's interested, if you could get in touch and I can give you details.
Yeah, I lost
Lovely.
your details, so I was
Yes.
I was hoping I'd bump into you. So how should we do? Do you have? Can we contact people through?
Can we just maybe put our names and maybe names and emails now here on the chat? Maybe that's
Yeah, I shall do mine now.
good. I'm going to put my one as well on what you do.
So
So
on
if anybody,
Mac, and all of the Mac stuff at the bottom has just covered up all of the Zoom stuff. That's useful, isn't it? Oh, here we go. Right.
Let me just grab a pen.
Sorry.
The little tail that wandered off there.
It sort of wandered off and then came back for a little encore and then left. I was like, that's just cat, that is. Oh.
okay, I think I'm going to stop the recording if I can. And I don't know how to stop.